Call the meeting to order, do roll call. Sherry,
Here.
Ben, here, Vernon, Ty, here, Vicky.
Here.
Show that all five's here. Everybody, please stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call to public comment will be allowed at the mayor's discretion. This is exclusive of items requiring a public hearing. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. As a reminder to the public and city council members alike, the city council staff will not engage in dialogue or debate with any speaker pertaining to any comments made. Members of the public wishing to speak must keep their comments germane or relevant to the specific items before the council. Please wait to be recognized by the mayor. Remember to state your name and address for the record. If you're online and would like to participate, please type your name in the chat and wait to be recognized before unmuting and speaking. I don't see, do either one of you two want to speak? Is there anybody online? Yeah. Nope. Okay, we'll be moving on to consent agenda. I need a motion.
Mr. Mayor, this is Sherry, and I would move to approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion to have a second.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. I'll take a vote. Vicky?
Aye.
Ty?
Aye.
Vernon? Ben? Aye. Sherry?
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Go on to item number 2, Brothers Trash Disposal Agreement Amendment.
Thank you, Mayor. Including in the packet for council's consideration is an amendment to the agreement that we have with Brothers Trash Disposal. And the purpose for this agreement is when our code enforcement officer goes out to the community and possibly finds a house that has junked items that need to be removed and they've been properly noticed and they are still out of compliance, we need a mechanism in place to be able to remove those items and then subsequently bill that property owner for those charges. So this is a pass-through charge to the property owners, and we did research in surrounding communities about what has been charged. It's kind of a delicate balance because you don't want it to be cheaper than them procuring those services for themselves, because you want to encourage people to do that work on behalf of themselves instead of relying on the city to perform that service. And so the fee schedule that's included in the agreement is a $100 dispatch fee and then a $40 fee per bulk item. Just for some examples, a mattress and box spring would be one bulk item. 7 33-gallon bags would be one bulk item. So we really feel like that's a reasonable price to charge residents if they are unable to remove those junk items themselves. Then we would forward that to the property owner. If they're unable to pay that in a 30-day period, we'll forward that to the county clerk's office so that that fee could be applied as a special assessment on that property. So the city is essentially just a pass-through of this fee. The city will be reimbursed whether by the invoicing the property owner or receiving it via payment on their property taxes via special assessment. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Does anybody have any questions for Maddie?
Mattress is one item, the box spring is another item, or those are just
One.
one item?
Yes, sir.
Anything else, Vernon?
Well, I know this is odd. I know some people have been putting old tractor stuff out as artwork. You're not talking about that kind of stuff.
No, we try to be very sensitive to taste of how somebody wants to keep their property. If they have a piece of art in their front yard, we try to be respectful of that and reasonable. We're talking about, you know, a mattress and box springs or a used couch or a significant amount of large trash bags that need to be removed and they've received proper notice of such.
So you're talking about those sofas that are out there that says free?
Yeah,
Okay.
hopefully it'll be picked up by somebody before their time expires and we won't have to go through this process, but yes, sir, that is.
Sherry?
No.
Ben, we good? Nikki? You need a motion,
Yes, sir, I do.
go, what, how do you want to? Like, is this not on the ordinance? Oh, okay.
I think we have a recommended motion
Okay,
in the packet, sir.
I need a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move to authorize the city administrator to execute the second amendment to the professional service agreement with Brothers Disposal.
I have a motion to have a second.
I will second.
I have a motion and a second. I'll call for a vote. Vernon?
Aye.
Ty?
Aye.
Vicky?
Aye.
Ben?
Aye.
Sherry?
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Moving on to item number 3, future land use map.
Thank you, Mayor. I think
Good.
Chris.
Yes. Hey. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. I appreciate the opportunity to appear via Zoom. Appreciate that flexibility. This future land use map before you is just exactly the same thing we talked about at the work session a couple of weeks ago. This is an effort by staff to bring our Basehor Town Center area into conformance with the concept plan that you all approved and adopted last summer. We just want to make sure that we've got all of the pieces in place to move forward with the development of this property. As I talked about last time, there are several maps within there. It's the same map over and over again that has to be adopted, but that's what all of the figures are. It's just Basehor Town Center in multiple pages within that document. The Planning Commission recommended to approve this request, and staff also supports that recommendation. I'll answer any questions you may have.
Anybody got any questions?
I do not.
No. No.
No.
I don't see any questions right now. Thank you so much, Crystal.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 4, signing ceremony.
I'm so sorry. Could we, if it would so please you, maybe we could entertain a motion if somebody would like to offer one on that previous item.
Oh,
Sorry.
sure.
Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion to approve ordinance number 907, the amendment to the Basehor Comprehensive Plan and Parks Master Plan Future Land Use Map.
Have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. I'll call for a vote. Vicky?
Aye.
Vernon? Ty?
Aye.
Sherry?
Aye.
Ben?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Thank you, Mayor.
Moving on to item number 4, signing ceremony of 155th Street project authorization and the Metro Green Trail project authorization.
Thank you, Mayor. Hot off the press from the Kansas Department of Transportation, we received the awards for our 2 projects, 155th Street and the Metro Green Trail. We did receive the bids back last week, and we gave verbal authorization and written authorization to move forward with these projects. You have approved these projects in the budget. You have approved these projects in the capital improvement plan. You have approved these projects several times throughout the course of this project. This is just dotting the i's and crossing the t's for KDOT, and they need an additional form signed. We didn't want to wait until 2 weeks from now to sign this, so I apologize for the last minute addition to the agenda. But we thought it would be a nice addition to commemorate this really important point in our project of inviting our council members and our mayor down to sign the forms and take a picture together. I certainly recognize that that request was sent out pretty last minute, so I want to be respectful of everybody. And if everyone is agreeable to that, I think it would be a really great opportunity to commemorate that. And so what will happen next is we will send this information to KDOT once it's been executed. They will let us know once we're allowed to make an announcement of who the contractor is that was selected. Along with that, we'll have detailed communication plans about, we know the community has a lot of questions. When's the road going to be closed? When are you going to start constructing the roundabout? We're going to have all that information communicated through all of our media channels, the Basehor Quarterly, our website, e-news, social media, as many opportunities as we can to communicate that. So at this time, Mayor, if it is allowed, I'd invite you, Council President, and all the council members down to the floor to sign. You will sign 4 times. We have to have 2 originals for the city, 2 originals for the Kansas Department of Transportation. And Stephanie and I will be happy to guide everybody through that.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Patty.
I can go there. Stuff out of the way. Sorry. No.
If you wouldn't mind kind of lining up on this end. Yep. Mayor, would you mind starting us off here? Mayor, your council president, you'll be right after the mayor, and he'll sign 1, 2, and then just go down the line. Yep, and then we'll take pictures as you all are done. Leslie, you also signed, so if you could line up and after Vicky. You can stay. And then Kathy will sign behind you. The area is really small. So just sign where it says council member, and we'll sign where it says president. Yeah, perfect. I am. Okay. This is over $8 million in rights.
We just signed the line.
$8 million. Okay.
Are you gonna need these for pictures?
Yeah.
Oh.
You guys can see it all behind this.
Yeah, we're probably, yeah, sorry.
You're going to be ours, don't worry about it. I definitely did.
Well, I mean, that's a lot of years of agreement right there.
That's the total project cost. Yeah, you got it. We just have to.
Everybody's.
Yeah, so we can get one picture for the mayor and council.
Oh, you know.
I'm gonna move these.
Mad. 1, 2, 3. Get one more. 1, 2, 3. All righty. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Excuse me. That's right next to you. Thanks.
All right. Mayor, if I might, before we proceed to the next item, I just want to take an opportunity to thank this mayor and council. What you did this evening is authorizing us to move forward with over $8 million of grants for projects in our community. That is a significant amount of money for us to advance connectivity projects in our community. So I just want to take a moment for us to celebrate that.
Thank you, Maddie. Appreciate it. Moving on to item number 5, city administrator and staff report. Chief. You moved on me.
Yeah, a couple quick things tonight. We deployed the MDTs that I told you all about that we got the grant money. They haven't been out on the street a couple of 3 hours. got a medical call, we responded to an elderly female, hooked the device up. It told us that a shock was not authorized or acceptable. My guys continued life-saving measures until Leavenworth, EMT showed up and took over. The beauty of it is they were able to disconnect our device, hook right up to theirs. This lady up and off they went. So, super excited. The MDTs have already paid for themselves.
Awesome.
Secondly, and just as importantly, the long-term MDT project is now been deployed. So all of the patrol cars have mobile data devices. So dispatch, as far as that high level of connectivity you see in some of the bigger cities, we now have dispatch can send information directly to the units, either en route while on scene. I'm super excited about that. And last but certainly not least, last week we started our second intern program with the cooperative efforts of the high school. The 2 females that were picked, or 2 young ladies, I don't think the proper term is there, so 2 girls. Super excited. They're very, very intelligent. Put in their applications and they were selected. So I hope at some point they're bringing them to city council meeting so that you all can meet.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
So Chief, does the new equipment impact the NCIC capabilities?
It does. Short version of that is because there is a level of distracted driving with those MDTs. I have not underlined and in bold authorized access to NCIC or alert information through those MDTs. I want our folks to get used to having them in the car and using them before we throw another factor.
Yeah.
They are, however, set up for the future based on the security needs that are required.
Very good. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Gene. Good evening, Mayor, City Council, Gene Miracle, Municipal Service Director. Over the past couple of weeks, we've worked approximately 7 storm events. And with that comes maintenance on equipment. So we've been doing quite a bit of some smaller tasks on maintenance, make sure everything's upright. Today, we emptied all the spreaders, power washed them, oiled them down and checked them all out and did a couple smaller things there on some lighting. On a bigger note, our structures for the lift station have been completed. They shipped the first week of February. The contractor mobilized in a large track dozer first of this week, and they've actually started excavating the wet well location. They're down about 9 foot, just hitting rock, which they anticipated from the geo study. So I'm hoping to be able to it's pretty sloppy down there. So I'm hoping to get some pictures, and as we go, maybe here in the next couple of months, just do 4 or 5 slides of where we're at to this point once the structures get delivered and they're on site. So the contractor had the crane representative out yesterday, met with them to show where the building pad would have to be built for the crane to set to lower the structures 33 foot down in the ground. So, but it is starting to move along and very excited for that.
Gene, I know that we've used a lot of sand and salt already this year, probably more than we usually do by this time. So how are we looking as far as that goes?
Since you guys, the council and you increased our tonnage, we ordered 400 tons this year. We are receiving salt all through the remaining of this week. We had 25 tons show up this morning, another load tomorrow, another load Friday, and that'll leave 75 tons out. And then we had a trucking company haul us 120 tons of ice control sand in those 2 days last week that they were able to operate with the trucks on the road with the cold temperatures. So we've got a little over 100 tons of sand and about 55 to 60 tons of medium rock salt. And we'll get another 25 ton tomorrow, another 25 tons Friday, and then they'll deliver the remaining 75 tons next week. So we're getting back up in
Good
stock.
shape, and that's awesome. And let's hope you have all that left to here in a couple of months.
Yeah. Totally agree.
Yeah. Maddie?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few quick updates. We continue to work on the groundbreaking ceremony for the 155th Street Venture Bridge Trail projects. We're waiting to confirm the date with the contractor once KDOT gives us permission to be able to communicate with them. And then we'll communicate that to the public. We are negotiating easements for the 158th Street project. And we hope to have some of those easements finalized for the next few meetings. And so that'll be kind of a standard item until we get all of those easements acquired. Field of Dreams Phase 2 improvements is underway. Sands Construction is actively working out there to install the backstop netting and renovate the 2 restrooms at the lower level fields. And then also the bleachers for the remaining fields have been ordered, and we were told today that they should be here by February 2nd. So I had a schedule for those items. And then finally, I would just like to say thank you to everybody. The last couple of weeks have been a little bit difficult for me, and I just want to thank everybody for their support and patience. Thank you.
Thank you, Maddie. Good job. Stephanie?
Sorry, Mayor.
Sorry, I didn't have anything planned for this evening. As Maddie mentioned, we're just moving it forward. We got some fun ceremonies coming up, exciting. Thank you all for signing this evening. And we are in the works to plan the groundbreaking ceremony as well as opening our new city hall, and looking forward to all that. Thank you.
Evening, Mayor, Council. I just wanted to take a moment and ask if you all could look at your calendars and for the upcoming governing body retreat. We're looking at May 3rd from 8 to 4 p.m. and we're looking at the VFW hosting again this year because they did an awesome job last year. So we are looking at the date of May 3rd.
For me. So it's an all-day event. I'm good on that day.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Awesome.
Put it on the calendar.
Yes. I will send out a calendar reminder as long as that's good with everybody and I'll get that on everybody's radar.
Okay, Vernon, you okay?
I got a cardiac appointment on that day, but you don't need me to be there. You guys can support about me.
Can we move that?
It's the retreat, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just got a medical appointment that day, so I might not be there.
We can certainly look at a different day. I mean.
Yeah.
It's your retreat, so it's a governing body retreat. So
Let's just
we're
look at
happy to
another
find
day.
an
We're
alternate.
that far out.
Yeah, I mean, that far out, we can do what makes the most sense for the body.
Look at another date.
Please.
Do we want to look at just the following?
Yeah, maybe May 10th.
The
May
10th.
10th?
May 10th work.
10th works for me too.
That's good.
How about May 10th? Does that work for you?
I might not get there till 10:30.
Do we want to look at May 9th? That's a Thursday.
Still good.
For you?
Still good?
May 9th is good.
Mine?
May
You
9th
made
is
it
good,
nice,
Ty?
Vernon?
Yes.
Okay.
Jerry?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
May
May
9th
9th it is.
All right.
That was relatively painless.
All right. And the other thing I was just going to note, if I hadn't seen you already this week, your W-2s are at your seat this evening. So that's all I had right now. Okay.
Sometimes I used to start at 9, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
6 a.m. I'll see you at 9.
Yes. See you there.
Is that all you had, Kathy?
Yes, sir.
She's still on the line? Crystal's still on the line?
Should be.
It is.
Hi, sorry.
Crystal, you have anything?
Yeah, so I've been working on a couple research projects for Leslie for some developments. January 30th, so on Tuesday, we have our final open house for the downtown corridor plan. That's from 4:30 to 6:30 at the VFW. And I've been working with integrity mapping. We are this close to having that public facing. We've just got a few little things we need to tweak. But that should be rolled out by the middle of next week for the public to be able to access our GIS site. So I'm really excited about that. And I think that's about it. That's the big stuff anyhow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Maria, you got anything? Leslie?
Thank you, Mayor. Very quickly, if you have been to the library this week, you may start noticing some survey stakes in the front lawn. Those survey stakes are designate the area where the sidewalk connection is intended to go. So work is beginning on that. And I know Mr. Waters, thank you for your assistance on that project. And we couldn't be more excited to see that connection happen. So I think that's going to be a really great addition and amenity for the community. Playground equipment is officially ordered for the new Civic Campus Park. So we could not be more excited about that. We're getting some updated renderings on the playground equipment. And as soon as those are ready, we'll make sure to share those not only with you, but with the public so that everybody can start to get very excited. Additionally, splash pad equipment is ordered and should be set for delivery in July. So our hope and what we are marching towards is to have that splash pad available and open for at least a couple of months this summer for our public. And I, again, just cannot wait for that amenity. It really is not just a splash pad, but also really, I think, will be a nice focal point that can serve as some public art. It's really took on a very nice artistic quality to it. Maddie did not mention this, which I will give a shout out to Maddie. She has submitted our request for funding participation from Leavenworth County. So we sent our invoice today. We look forward to hearing back from the county on that. And again, just cannot thank them enough for their support because of the total amount of the 155th Street project. The city's share of that project ended up being just a little bit higher than $4 million. So that would get us to the full $2 million that Leavenworth County had anticipated funding. So our request was for just under 2 million because you may recall they did pay a small invoice maybe a little more than a year ago. So as part of that communication, we've also indicated that we would be more than happy to come up and we would love to do some sort of celebration with the BOCC when they are ready to hand us the check. And so if that's something that the county would take us up on, and we also would love for the staff from the county that have been huge supporters of this project to participate in that as well. And of course, we've asked that they be an integral part of the groundbreaking ceremony. So we even have a stage on order. It's going to be great. It's going to be the best groundbreaking we've held yet. So we're super excited about that and cannot thank the county enough. So if you see any of your county commissioners, please make sure to thank them for all of their support. We have been meeting on the Coralberry Trail extension. That's what we're calling the new project that we're going to be submitting for Mid-America Regional Council for funding. That is the project that the council authorized, one of the projects that the council authorized for us to submit for application. I think if we can get that project competitive, which I think we can, it would be a great addition. It basically extends the trail network, which is going to be happening from Metro Green Trail from where it terminates at the Civic Campus all the way to the west to 166th Street to Hidden Ridge subdivision. So you would be able to conceivably get on a 10-foot wide trail at 166th Street and Hidden Ridge subdivision and make it all the way up to City Hall and Basehor Town Center without ever having to get off of a trail, which would be amazing. So I think that is everything that I have, and looking forward to another very busy and fun 2024. Thanks.
Leslie, do you have any idea when the part of the plan is to build the dock and stock the pond?
Yes, so that is all going to happen like very soon. So Crossland Construction is finalizing. We actually just got an email, Maria received an email today from our contact at Crossland. They're kind of doing their final dotting of their I's and crossing of their T's, but we expect to have all of those amenities that are park-based open before the end of fall.
Okay.
This year.
Thank you.
So including stocking the pond, assuming that that's the appropriate time for fish. I don't know anything
I
about
don't
when the
either.
appropriate time to stock ponds are for fish, but we'll make sure we're consulting with people that do know that. That's not me.
Probably late spring, isn't it, Gene? Okay. Good deal. Moving on to council members' report. Vernon, we'll start with you.
Okay, yes, this is Wednesday. Monday, provided a tour of Leavenworth County, specifically to include Basehor for an individual coming out looking at commercial property. Ended up talking with the Port Authority Board and the OCDC Executive Director. At the same time, the Kansas Department of Commerce was out doing the same thing. So it was just a nice little link to be able to get out there and highlight Basehor, talk about the benefits, you know, of commercial properties that we have here in Basehor. So that was Monday. Tuesday, I was at Mark. I got to share the retirement event, you know, of McGahee. That was well received by the board of directors. Also at that time, I know we talked about the county commissioners that we wanted to do something with them. But Doug Smith had announced his retirement at that meeting. So there was a whole lot of noise with that. Somehow my name came up in that conversation. Spoke a little bit about surveys. I know a couple of weeks ago, I talked about, you know, can we draw that survey down? Can we get it to where we can get some individual questions from individuals? Spoke a little bit about the fact that that when we look at our confidence levels of the surveys that are going out, and then I'll talk about this again, you know, in the next and in the work session. But they talk about how sometimes those surveys are really limited in scope, which is essentially what I was talking about last time. Also, I've been pushed to announce that Mid-America Regional Council is looking at 503C corporations in the county because they have some additional funding opportunities. So I know I made a call yesterday, but I probably need to get with the Chamber of Commerce. Because if this funding is available, you guys know how I like to go get those dollars. If this funding is available, then yes, I think we need to push Basehor to get the funding as much as possible. So that's been a busy week for me.
Thank you, sir. Sherry?
Yeah. Well, it's already been a good and busy 2024. So some of the things that I've been lucky and blessed to attend. January 4th, went to the 158th Street Open House. I think it was probably one of the biggest crowds we'd ever seen. So that was very exciting. On January 11th, went to the Topeka Capitol and attended the LAVTR event where we went and supported a possibility for property tax breaks for our citizens. So that was a great event. January 19th, went to the Leavenworth County Development Corporation's annual meeting. I think I read they had their largest crowd at that event also, and we got to listen to an individual speak about the new American Royal that's being built out here in Wyandotte County. I was really amazed and impressed of what's coming our direction with that and how that will probably affect Basehor. Also on January 22nd, went to the ribbon cutting at the Wild Oak Academy over on Pinehurst. That was very interesting. Looked like they're very busy, and a lot of beautiful little children there that were taking their naps. So we had to, you know, kind of come at nap time, but that's all right. And then tomorrow, I'm actually going to plan to attend the Scholarship Award Program over at the VFW. That's one of my favorite events. I love listening to our young people from Basehor that get up and read their written documents of support for veterans in America. I'd encourage anybody to go if you can. It's very moving. And then I just want to take a quick moment to thank everybody. And I mean this very sincerely, the maintenance crew, police department, even Brothers Trash. I don't know how you all did it with the bitter cold and the snow and all of your long hours. It means a lot to me, and I want to thank you all for that. Also, even the staff, you know, you may not have been out in the bitter cold, but I know you were working extra hours because you were staying in contact with all the other crews. You were keeping social media updated so the citizens knew what was going on. So I know there was probably some evenings and weekend work involved. So just kudos to all of you, the whole group. Thank you very much.
And
I think Gene and I had talked about this previously, but one of the things when I came onto council that Gene very kindly did for me is he gave me a tour of our wastewater treatment plant, which was really kind of neat. And I know we do have some new council members on, and I was going to, obviously not anytime soon, right? But I was thinking once it warms up a little bit, that would be nice for us to all get out and have a little field trip for those of you who want to go out and experience that, which I thought was, as funny as it sounds, kind of neat to see, because believe it or not, the stuff out there in the trucks and everything, there's a lot of money in that. And we really need to see when we're making those decisions, what additional things we need to get, right? And really the wear and tear on what we have already. So I'd say if we could start looking at calendars, you know, what do you say, April, May, something like that, that we would be able to get out and just kind of cruise around and you give us a tour. And outside of that, went to some ribbon cuttings and some open houses and worked during the day, but it's been eventful to say the least. Thank you.
I am good tonight.
Becky?
Well, I came in at an exciting time because it's been a whirlwind. There have been a lot of activities, a lot of things going on, but so exciting, and I really appreciate it. And I've had a chance to meet, I think, everybody at the staff. And I am so impressed with the teaming and all the work that's done, the work that's done behind the scenes, the work that's done in front of everything that's going on, the teaming that it takes to make that happen. I am very excited and also excited about the professionalism. And we can really be proud of this town. There are so many exciting things going on. Going to the Capitol and actually listening to Senator Tyson. My goodness, all of us are concerned about taxes. Senator Tyson, working with that committee, she knows what she's talking about. She gets down to figures. She knows that those figures. I feel better that she's looking over things. I feel really proud of the work that our staff has done to be proactive and professional and constructive and looking out for the taxpayers and trying to do something that would make a difference and be supportive, not yelling, not complaining, constructive action. So I'm excited. Thank you all.
Moving on, to item number 7, the mayor's report. These guys didn't leave me much to talk about. That's okay. I tell you, I did go to the hearing at Topeka too, and I'm telling you, it's the first time I've ever been into the Capitol. What an experience. What a beautiful building that is. Something that we all need to be proud of. The hearing was eye-opening for me. There was a lot of heated discussion going on there that I really didn't expect, but it was a learning experience. So, along with the staff, with Maria, Crystal, and Stephanie, I got to talk to them a lot during that day and learn more about them. So it was a great learning experience for all of us. So that was great. I did the ribbon cutting ceremony and a lot of the other things too. But thing you need to keep an eye out for in the newspaper, Beth Cornergy is writing an article about our new park over there with the pond. We told her what kind of fish we're putting in it, Maddie was a great help on helping. What were some of the questions they were asking, Maddie?
What we think the community's most excited about, and we talked about how the splash pad is not only functional, but also a public art component. We talked about, what types of big fish we've looked at to stock the pond. We've talked about the timeline, talked about the event lawn and what kind of things that people can expect from the city. And so I think we've sent over a lot of really great information. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, I don't think she gave you a final date, did she? She didn't give me one either, so. But we'll keep an eye out for that, because that's pretty interesting, because that's about what we're doing and accomplishing here. I think that's all I've got for right now. No need for an executive session, okay? Then I need a motion to adjourn the regular meeting.
Mayor, this is Sherry, and I move that we adjourn the meeting.
A motion, and I hear a second.
A second.
A motion, a second. Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We'll go right on into the work session. Item number 1, on code update.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. As you all know, ENCODE performed a top to bottom review of our municipal code last year. And in their view, the good news is that there were no glaring urgent matters that needed to be addressed immediately, but they did provide a number of suggested updates to our code to be more consistent and aligned with state law or with best practices. Tonight's suggestions that I'll share with you all relate to Chapter 4 of the municipal code related to alcohol and cereal malt beverages. And I'll go through each of their suggestions in turn. And these are also in the staff memo, but I'll talk a little bit more about them here. And if you have questions after each of these topics, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, we can talk about it after my remarks. So the first suggestion related to removal of liquor and cereal malt beverage off-premise consumption. There is a state law that prohibits a person from taking a CMB, cereal malt beverage, or liquor off of the drinking establishment that they purchased it on, with some limited exceptions related to if a temporary permit's been issued, if the place is privately owned. So for example, if you're having a glass of wine at your home, but not selling it, that's obviously fine under the law. But we don't have something like that in our municipal code. And so that's a suggestion that we could add to say drinking off premises is unlawful except for these exceptions. State law is silent on off-premise consumption of CMB. There's only a statute that addresses liquor. And so municipalities in Kansas are free to adopt ordinances that address CMB. So the suggestion from ENCODE is to really say, have an ordinance that addresses liquor and CMB here locally. The next suggested edit was related to common consumption areas. This is a relatively new state law. Just a few years ago, the state legislature enacted a statute allowing for such common consumption areas, which is allowing local governments to establish certain boundaries within the city where people would be able to drink their alcoholic beverages outside of a drinking establishment, but it's designated. There are signs up. People know that in this particular square, people would be able to take their beverages and not be in violation of that off-premise statute. I spoke with the chief of police for this and we kind of discussed internally. This is a suggestion from ENCODE, definitely not required. The city can have an ordinance for that, but doesn't need to. We don't know if now is a good time for that, whether it's really necessary in Basehor to have a designation in the city where people can drink alcohol outside of a drinking establishment. So kind of something for you all to think about and discuss. One note that I had in the staff memo, which I'll just correct in my remarks now, was a suggestion for an ordinance prohibiting the unlawful hosting of minors. And I learned since publishing that memo that our UPOC, the Uniform Public Offense Code, that the city of Basehor adopts actually has that exact provision already. It just doesn't appear in our municipal code that I was looking at online, but we actually have adopted it. So that's great news. We don't necessarily need to discuss that one. Another suggestion from ENCODE related to the penalty provision in Chapter 4. Right now, it's very, really, there's nothing to it. It just says that if a person is in violation of any provision of chapter 4, they could have their license, their CMB license suspended, for example. In addition, is what it says, in addition to any other penalty provided by our city code. And because there is no specific penalty in chapter 4, the penalty reverts to chapter 1, the general penalty provision, which provides for a fine of up to $1,000 and or jail time of up to 179 days. So a person looking at our code would see that there's not really a clear penalty provision in chapter 4. They might not know that they need to go to the general penalty provision in chapter 1. So the suggestion is to kind of clean that up, make it clear that violation is, a misdemeanor punishable by a fine of X amount of dollars or jail time of X amount of days. And so if there's interest in the council in looking at that more, I could do a comparison of what other cities charge, what are their penalties look like. I found some examples that it would be, not less than $50 per penalty and not more than $500 per offense. And imprisonment not to exceed 6 months, but that can vary and it's really up to you all what it would look like. Another suggestion had to do with the suspension of a CMB license for any violation of the CMB laws, but not necessarily bad enough to revoke the license. We could ensure the person decides to appeal that suspension would be stayed. So in other words, if we have a business in town that has a CMB license and the chief of police under the code believes that they have violated a provision of chapter 4, the chief can actually suspend their license for up to 30 days. But if that person disagrees with that assessment and wants to appeal it to this governing body, there's no provision in the code currently that says what happens to their license while they're appealing. So we could make it clear and to be consistent, with due process requirements that suspension is stayed or paused while their appeal is pending in front of you all. And then finally, there was a final suggestion related to the disqualification list. So our city code currently has a list of reasons a person would not be granted a CMB license if they applied for one. For example, they aren't issued to someone who's not a Kansas resident, who is not a US citizen, or someone with a recent felony. And there were 3 additional suggestions to be added to that list. It included that the applications must be reviewed and approved by the police chief, reviewed and approved by the county health department for on-premise, make sure that it's a safe and clean premise, and then proof that the applicant is the owner of the premises to be licensed. So as I said, staff is, generally supportive of those. The purpose of this discussion tonight is, it's a work session, so you're not taking action on anything. I'm really looking for direction on whether you would like me to craft an ordinance to bring back to you all for consideration, just to kind of see what this would actually look like. Or if there are suggestions that you've heard that you're just definitely not interested in, to not draft an ordinance on those. So with that, I would be happy to answer any questions.
Questions or suggestions for Maria?
No, reading the staff recommendation, I would concur with staff recommendation is.
Absolutely.
The more clarity you can add to these kind of situations, the better. I really like the fact that they don't have to, because too often I see people say, what wasn't there, it was someplace else. People don't look. So if that piece can be cleared up, I think that would be really.
The only thing I had on the common consumption area, I assume when you were talking about on premise, for the restaurants that have their outdoor patios where people sit and have dinner and maybe a drink, that's still okay or
Yeah, no,
there's nothing.
that's something separate. So a common consumption area is the boundaries are actually designated by an ordinance. So it's something different from an outside patio, that business has decided to do that and obtain the license or any necessary compliance with the rules. But this is, you all say, between these streets, and it could even be by time, that people would be able to have their alcohol outside away from the premises.
Oh, maybe like a block party or something that a HOA would put together or something like that.
Like some of that. And then there's some restaurants downtown that the sidewalk has little patio chairs and stuff. It's not their property, it's city sidewalk property, but you can drink on it.
And the next one went through the same thing, but if it's entertainment district.
Yeah.
So you've been to Lenexa City Center, like the public market,
Mm-hmm.
they have blue stars on the sidewalk. And they have signage posted that says you can't take your alcoholic beverages out beyond the blue stars.
Okay.
And they're designated throughout, that's kind of they're denoted in these areas.
All right, thank you.
Sure. If you all would like more information about common consumption, I'm happy to provide it, maybe examples from other cities. We just didn't know if there was a need, so we're kind of eager for your feedback, but I'm happy to bring that back as more information.
I haven't seen the deed.
No, I mean, I just know as we grow, and I'm not gonna say this is gonna happen or not happen, but I was just thinking like our event lawn or our amphitheater, and as the city grows and has the ability to hold events, that could maybe have beverages there. I just was, thinking along those lines.
We may need our own blue stars.
That's right.
When that arises, can they get a temporary, first time it comes out?
For a block party, for
Yeah.
example, do we have temporary permits? Yeah, I think so. So it'd be for
It
this,
does come up the second time. Start. Yeah.
I just, I understand the need for rules, but I didn't want to get too restrictive to where, like an HOA or even an event down the road as we grow and have an ability to offer more to our citizens that they wouldn't be able to do something if they wanted to.
so is there consensus then to accept staff's recommendation and return with the noted ordinance?
Okay, so from these two, what about you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great, okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That's helpful.
Thank you, Maria. Item number 2, YMCA proposal.
Thank you, Mayor. Included in the council's packet for discussion this evening is a very exciting item. In the 2019 Citizen Satisfaction Survey, a community center was listed as an amenity that the community would like to see. And of course, we hear that a lot in our subsequent surveys and then also in social media and just being out in the community. And as you know, constructing a community center is a very costly endeavor, not only the initial costs up front to build the facility, but also to maintain it so long that it remains in the possession of the city. So the city administrator and I have been brainstorming on some ideas, and we proactively reached out to the YMCA to discuss about the possibility of a YMCA being constructed in Basehor. And we really feel like that's the perfect blend of delivering an amenity to the community while also being responsible and prudent with the city's budget. So that those amenities could be offered, but not the responsibility of the city to maintain. And so included in your packet for discussion, this proposal does not require council approval, but we understand the absolute significance of something as big as a YMCA possibly coming to Basehor. And so we didn't feel like it would be prudent of us to move forward without having a discussion with our elected officials about the proposal. And so the proposal that's included is for a research firm to conduct a market study to determine if the YMCA would be successful in a community such as Basehor. It's essentially their second step in their process. Their first step was the initial meeting. We went over all the things that we have happening that are exciting here at Basehor. We talked about the quality of life amenities. We talked about our population growth. We talked about the commercial activity, and all of those things were very appealing to the YMCA administration. And so the next step is for us to conduct a feasibility study. And so that is included in the packet. Staff would very much like to move forward with this, but again, this is such a significant and important possible project for our community, and we wanted to make sure that we got feedback from our council before moving forward. I will just say for the public, just because the YMCA has communicated with us and we are to this point, does not mean that we're guaranteed to have a YMCA built in our community. This is not the point in the process where we start talking about, well, where is it going to go? How big is it going to be? Is it going to have a pool? All those sorts of things. All those discussions will happen further down the line. This is YMCA's process of determining, is our model going to be successful in Basehor? And if it is, then we'll move forward in the process. You all have approved in your budget, an amount that would allow for us to proceed with this, so we don't need additional approval in that respect. We have study dollars that are set aside for studies exactly like this in preparation for our growing community. So I would just like to turn it over to the mayor and council to receive feedback.
Questions? Brian? Anybody?
If it is shown that it's through this feasibility study that it's needed, right? At what point do we loop in the school district to say, are you interested in participating in this? Because obviously a community center like this, the school district will be and I would assume that the school district would be ones that would come to us and want to participate and at minimum use the facility. So if nothing else, maybe we should begin those. When is it that we begin those discussions with them? Once the feasibility study is complete then?
Correct. Leslie and I have spoken to the leadership at the YMCA, and they have expressed exactly what you're talking about, Council President Sims, of looping in the school district to see if there's a possible partnership there. So once the feasibility study is completed and they have all of that data for YMCA's administration to continue those conversations, we'll loop in the school district at that time.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I understand what our swim team is bigger than the Lansing swim team now. They need a facility.
A couple weeks ago, I began to talk about surveys and how certain things are just being missed. And we're missing it again right now. It's the school district. I get it. What about what about the people that don't have people that are students? What about the population group from 18 to 30? It sounds like they're being cut out again if we include the school system in this. So I understand this right here is a standalone facility. Because we need.
Well, all of those details will be determined after the feasibility is completed. And I apologize if I misspoke, but we're not recommending that this be a school facility. We're just recommending that the school district, and the YMCA is recommending that the school district be involved, so that if there is a possibility to allow the swim team to practice, if there is a pool at the facility, that those are considerations that the YMCA is taking into account. I know that the Bonner Springs YMCA has a great partnership with their high school, and I believe that their students do their practice laps for the swim team at that facility. And to what we've been told by the YMCA, that's a very successful facility. So we're not saying that people that don't have students in the school won't be included. That's not the case. The sampling of data that they're going to take does not take that into account. So they're doing a random sampling by phone and by the internet, and making sure that it is statistically valid before they would submit it to us. So I apologize, Councilmember Fields, but no one is being intentionally excluded.
Because that was my question yesterday at Mark was, we need to be able to drill this data down, to find out, who has students, who does not have students, what's those age groups, what do they say?
Right.
And it looks here, there's gonna be a telephone
Correct.
survey.
Telephone and online.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
I missed the online. Like I said, online. And then 400 is the magic number to get a confidence level or an alpha level of 95%.
Correct.
Give or take 4.5.
That's correct.
The question I had yesterday, Mark, was, is that gonna really be enough residents here? We got what, 8,000 or thereabouts? And we're taking a sample set of 400.
Yeah, statistically speaking, like you said, if we get to a 95% confidence level, we have a 95% chance that if we surveyed every person in our community, that our result is not going to change plus or minus 5%. So we have a very high likelihood that if we get to that 400 number, that if we went out and surveyed everybody, it would stay relatively the same, like you mentioned. Yeah.
Gladstone, I think the city administrator went one time to Gladstone's community center. I think we also went to Marion's new community center, and they have areas that specifically allows, again, those folks that I think sometimes get missed, for seniors to be able to be there, for people that don't have don't have children to be there. They still have a set aside piece, you know, for school activities. And I think the one at Gladstone even had, it wasn't Olympic size, but that's an awesome facility. So I think that my job, you know, on the council was to look at making sure that we have that opportunity for everybody to be able to get there and not be focusing on just one group. It's got to be an even and balanced focus.
Thank you.
Actually, if their model is the Bonner Springs Y or something like that, the group you're talking about is very active there. It is very strong. So
And it is
it
supported
is
by the school.
utilized.
Yes, not just for the school, it's supported by the school.
It's
Very clear distinction.
It's built on. What I'm talking about are those YMCA's that are not, you know, that allow schools to come in and use their facilities. But it's not designated as a, you know, we gotta block this off because the school needs it.
Thank you.
Well, I want to thank both, everyone that was involved, to contact them. Because I know we are hearing this in surveys and social media that people do want a community center, somewhere to go exercise, walk, meet. They want the pool. So I do appreciate that you've taken a proactive measure to reach out and contact them and that they've actually shown interest to even start talking to us and do this survey. And my assumption is it would be a broad spectrum of people that are called or have internet opportunity. My assumption is it's all ages and demographics from our community. So again, thank you for the extra effort to do this. And again, I think it shows that the city and the staff and the council, we are listening and that we do want to bring amenities to the community that help everyone. So thank you.
Yes.
Anything else from anybody? Thank you very much, Patty.
So just to make sure that I'm clear, we have general consensus to move forward. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Moving on to item number 3, adjournment of work session. I need a motion. Ready in favor, say aye.
I'll second.
Sherry.
And I.
Thanks, guys, for coming.